One of the most interesting times in life ever was probably around 1995 March. It was the year Michael Jordan singing at home, super frustrated. He had this burning passion to do something that he loved, that he had taken a break from for 2 years, and decided to return to the NBA. In this beautiful month of March, the greatest basketball player we have ever seen before, Michael Jordan, returned to the Chicago Bulls wearing the 45. Now, he retired. He was, in his heart, felt like he was done. He'd done everything he needed to do in basketball. But he came back wearing the 45, and without that fire, that intensity, he lost to an overly stacked Orlando Magic team. Now, this team was like really, really good, man. Like, they had Shaq, they had Anthony Hardaway. They were a powerhouse, and they knocked them out the second year in the second round of the playoffs. Now, what did he do when he came back? He came back with a vengeance. I'm pretty sure the next year he won the championship, had like 70 wins in the season. Like, he was just a man on a mission. Now, the reason I bring this up is sometimes you have this itch to do something, even though you have other things you're doing. He was playing baseball, doing all that stuff. He just had to come back. And that's kind of how I feel about this podcast. Hi, my name is Flystewie. This is the Uneducated Investor Podcast, and welcome to the show, man. I haven't podcasted in like 6 months. So if you like what I say, if you like what I do, I'm a little rusty, haven't got used to it. But if you like what I do, like what I say, make sure that you leave a 5-star review, because that, my friend, Flight Crew, is how we grow. Yes, man. Honestly, I've been lately just having so many podcasting ideas. And I'm no Michael Jordan, but I could only imagine how he was feeling being at home watching the NBA playoffs and seeing all of these great basketball players compete in the sport that he loved. I just had so much good ideas that I just wanted to share and come out with, and I just had to get back into podcasting. I literally just kept writing idea after idea after idea that I wanted to come and talk about. So I guess I want to reintroduce myself to you guys, and kind of talk over why I take a break and why I really got into podcasting. What is it about it that just draws me to it so much? So let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the thing. What draws me into podcasting, why a lot of people should probably start a podcast. From the business side of it, there is something crazy happening in the marketplace, and I believe that podcasting is gonna be one of the foremost, most influential forms of entertainment there is. Like, I just found myself recently just listening to a podcast over and over and over again, man. I just can't stop listening to podcasts, and you're seeing that the attention of the people are going through these things. Like, podcasts are becoming the new TV channels. I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and it was ridiculously crazy to see. They had the CEO of Twitter on there, Elon Musk. Like, these guys have true entertainment value, and one of these interviews caught me the most, and it was this guy named Andrew Yang. And this guy, he's most likely going to become the president. He's running for Democrat. He's most likely going to be president in 2020. Like, this guy's mind is just insane. His ideas are insane. And he was just talking about data and numbers, and he just said that to get his message out there was the best place for him to do it and really share his message was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Like, he listened to the numbers, and he said to himself, he's like, yo, Joe Rogan has the most attention out of any sort of media platform out there. And if I can resonate with his audience, then I will be able to, really get my message out there and have a lot of people really support me in my campaign. So just that noticing of like a presidential candidate, which I don't know about you, but politicians aren't necessarily known for being like the most cutting edge, technological, advanced, most marketplace aware people, right? They're, just traditional people. They're not known as marketing geniuses. You're now starting to see that the mainstream media is really starting to pay attention to where these, the audiences are, because of course, if you know where the audiences are, you know where the dollars are. And I think one of the things that really caught my mind is this one guy. I can't think of the YouTube channel name. I think it's Hyper Change. I can't remember, but he did a video on why Spotify should buy the Joe Rogan podcast for millions of dollars or whatever, right? And I didn't listen to this video. It was just the title I saw, right? But just the notion of that is crazy to think, right? How someone can start a podcast and a media distribution company like Spotify, a listening platform like Apple, or any of these big real juggernauts in the industry can go in and buy these massive media platforms like a podcast, like something you do, something you create in your basement, something you just record every day. And that could be worth millions of dollars, right? So in seeing that, one of my favorite YouTubers, I guess, musicians to YouTubers, Joe Budden, just did a ridiculous podcasting deal with Spotify. So this is starting to happen. Joe Budden's exclusively now releases his podcast on Spotify per this deal that he signed. So a lot of these big companies are seeing this. So now what's this have to do with me? What's this have to do with Flystewie? Why did you return to podcast? Did you want to make millions of dollars? Well, obviously I want to make millions of dollars, but that's not necessarily the full reason. Like, obviously I see where the marketplace is going. I just felt like I had so many things to say, so much things I wanted to get off my chest, and I wanted to come back and see how I could perform in a video format. Of course, I've been doing podcasting just using audio, but in videos, I've never done it, and I think YouTube is still the premier platform of like expressing ideas. So what I want to do now is I want to record this as a video and then also release it as an audio. So by recording one time, doing the work once, and then I would have essentially multiple forms of media. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. In future videos, I really want to talk to you guys about like what I've been up to since all this time I've been taking off the podcast. Because when I was doing the podcast, I was actually seeing pretty crazy substantial numbers. Like, I was doing this daily, and then all of a sudden I said over every piece of content I put out, it had over 100 listeners, which is, I forgot what the stat is, but it's like you're like in one of the top percentage of podcasts if you have over 100 listeners per episode, right? Podcast is one of those things that when you consume, you're really consuming the whole thing. So it was just amazing to see how much the flight crew rocked with me. So in the future, I want to talk about, of course, in the Uneducated Investor podcast, I want to talk about, things with a little business tint to it. I'm a kid who, studied business in university. I'm not an expert by any means, but I just have a passion, an uneducated passion. I'm not really diving into financial statements, but I'm just seeing different trends in business and applying it, and giving my viewpoint on it. So if you rock with it, it sounds like something cool. If you want to talk about pop culture, rap, hip hop, basketball, baby, then yeah, this is the right place to be. So stick by. It's your boy Flystewie. Thank you, Flight Crew. If you like this, leave a 5-star review or like and comment on YouTube. I love your guys' faces. And what's my tag? I used to have a catchphrase. I think it goes something like, and the best investors are the uneducated ones. Why is that? Yeah, see, I don't remember my catchphrase. I'll listen to some of my old podcasts. I'll remember my catchphrase, and you'll get it next time. Now I'm saying. Anyways, your boy Flystewie. I love you guys' faces. I'll see you guys on my next podcast. Love you.